Hello and welcome to this episode of The Next Batch. Today we're going to continue where we left last time. The last episode was the unboxing of the Brewtools brewing system. The sheer amount of parts was so overwhelming that it was mind-blowing. I had to organize all the parts, take off the plastic stuff and get rid of all the trash. My brewery was filled to the brim with all the packaged stuff. So now I'm getting a bit more organized, and now we can take a better look at all the parts. Okay, let's start on the right side. There's that neoprene jacket that goes around the Brewtools machine. And here are all the silicone tubing power cords, the Brewtools machine itself, with the steam hat on it. Underneath we have the malt pipe, this sparge thing, and there's a filter disc, and I have a new filter disc. I think that one will replace that one. There's the Trubinator, there's the chiller, and on the bench here we can start. This is the steam condenser with all the pipes and fittings and tri-clamps. This middle section is the three-way valves, all four of them, and gaskets and fittings. And this goes on the malt pipe to make it lock in when it's lifted up. This is the mash hat. I don't think I'm going to use it because I will use this one instead, but I'm not sure yet. I just see that this looks very much like that, so I don't think I'm going to use that. This is the overflow pipes and a whole lot of tri-clamps. Yeah, so having it organized like this gives me a better overview of all the parts. And as I said, I don't know if there's any of the parts that came with the machine that I'm not going to use because I have bought the extra stuff. I will figure it out eventually, I hope. So Brewtools gives a good description on the web pages on how to mount everything. I have read some of it, and to start we're going to flip the Brewtools machine upside down and mount the power cables and a few other things. So let's start by turning it on its head. I guess I'll lift. Whee! Easy now. Remove the malt pipe and let's turn it upside down. It looks well organized and easy to access everything from underneath. I gotta say, the quality on everything is just super high. It's top-notch quality on everything. The steel, the weldings, everything feels so nice. And this also, the control box with the cables and stuff on behind it. Just, yeah, you can see this is expensive stuff. Okay, the power cable number one. Okay, let's go through this hole and connect it. I guess it's here. Yeah, this one says main power and this one says second power. The nice thing about the two power cords system here is that you can double the amount of power for the heating. So you can warm up the water more quickly and not break your circuits, since you can connect it to you have to connect it to two sockets that's on two different breakers. And luckily I have two breakers in my brewery. I have two 16 amp breakers, two different circuits. Okay, and then just turn them, tighten them, So while we're underneath the Brewtools, we can look at the piping. You can see that there's a pipe that goes into the machine. You can use it to circulate the mash water and whatever you want to circulate. And here's the pump, obviously. On this side we can see that there's some silicone tube and a port on this side. And here there's a valve, three-way valve, so you can steer the water or wort through the pipes that you want. Clever and simple system underneath. So I think it's the last thing to do while we have it upside down, and that's to mount this temperature sensor. Because of the four-way valve system, there's an extra sensor here. And then lead the sensor through this hole on the side. Yeah, so temp sensor here is for the return temp of, for example, the chilled wort. So I think that's all I have to do on the bottom. So now I can flip it back on its feet or base, or what you want to call it. Careful with the power cords. Okay, one power cord to each side. I have a 16 amp circuit there and another 16 amp circuit there. And with our 230 volt system, that means about 3200 watts on each. So the genius of this machine is that you can utilize two circuits, so you get more power to heat the water. So that's very smart. And if you don't have a 16 amp circuits, you can adjust it in the software to, I think it's 10 amps, 13 amps, whatever. So before I decide what to mount on the different ports and how I want to configure everything with the 4 three-way valves, I will connect it to power and start the system. I want to check out the software. Okay, let me plug in what I think is the main power. Oh, we have power. The system fired up. Ah, that's a nice screen. It says manual control, recipe or delayed start, and here we have some cogs, which means setup, alarm beeps, brightness, English, sensor. Yeah, here we can adjust the, just press on it a few times. That one's 16, and yeah, actually I think the other one is just 15 amps for some reason. Yeah, I'm using Celsius, liters, mash power mode. Okay, okay. Strike, yeah, okay. Wi-Fi, yeah. Blah blah blah. Okay. Okay, I can enter my credentials later, and it has an update tab, standard, beta, or development mode, I guess dev means. So let me enter my credentials real quick. Yeah, I entered my credentials on the Wi-Fi and it connected right away, and it's, yeah, we have an update going on. Okay. And then it's the next day. Yesterday the software update took a while before it finished. I had to restart the machine, and yeah, eventually it got finished. So today I can continue on the setup. When I bought the Brewtools machine, I didn't know if I wanted to use the 4 valve setup or maybe just the 3 or 2 valve setup. After a bit of research, I have decided that I want to use the 3 valve setup. So today I'm going to mount all the pieces and try to somehow build up my 3 valve setup. Okay, then the legs or what do you want to call it, are mounted, and I think that's the way to do it. There was no pictures in the instructions, so I'm not sure. Ooh, the noise. Yeah, it stays there at least. But if I want to have the mold pipe down, yeah, just yeah, it's a bit noisy. Anyway. Do it like that, I guess. This is the adjustable dip tube. I couldn't find any information in the documents on how to mount it. I think I will have it on the left side of the machine because this is the outtake. So when I'm transferring the wort, for example to the unit tank, when the brew is finished, I can adjust how low I want it to suck out the wort. And to mount it, I think I maybe need to screw this out, and yeah, pops out like that. Then I can mount this on the side and stick this through the machine. And then we take a gasket and we clamp it on the side here. Okay, nice and tight. And then is the tube itself. It says to use some of this silicone on all the gaskets, the O-ring gaskets, not on the TC gaskets, and stick it through. Not sure how far. Yeah, it feels like it's stopped by itself there. Yeah, and then I can adjust it. The dip tube on the other side, which is not adjustable from the outside, looks a bit different. It's a bit shorter, here. So 2 green gaskets go on, O-ring gaskets, and some silicone grease, and I'll just mount it in. And now let's mount one of the 3-way valves on this side. First we're going to mount the temp sensor, and then we're going to fit a silicone hose after the sensor, and it goes into the pump, which is underneath and inside the machine. The valve is on, and this is the piece where you insert the temp sensor. See this hole? You just screw it in and clamp this on the back side of the valve like that. Okay, that's mounted, and now I will cut a hose that goes from there to the pump in there. Okay, I'll just take some of this tubing and just push it on the pump like that, and then I'll cut it with a bit of slack. I'll cut it right there like that, and on it goes. Yeah, okay. Yeah, and with the 3-valve setup, this is supposed to be attached to your sparge water heater, but I haven't got that setup finished yet, so for the moment I will just use this little lid and just blind the exit. Yeah, and then I'm finished on working on the right side of the machine, so let's concentrate on the left side. Okay, now it gets a bit more complicated, because now we're going to set up the chiller and 2 more valves. Yeah, okay, let's see how it goes. Okay, taking a look at the left side of the Brewtools, the next thing to mount is the 3-way valve down here. This is the drainage, so you can either use it to drain the machine, or you can use it with this valve to steer the flow through your counterflow chiller. Okay, that's bolted on. So that means that this port that goes to the hot side of the counterflow chiller, I need a silicone hose, so I need this tri-clamp bit that fits, that the hose fits to. Okay, so now the next part is the counterflow chiller, and I was thinking that maybe I could screw it on my wall like this. I need some space here because something's supposed to be attached here. It's water. Okay, so both in and out wart hoses or tri-clamp hoses are installed. Moving on with the counterflow chiller, I have this, we call it in Norway, Gardena kobling. So I can fit my water hose on this one. So this goes on the water in port. And because it gets too tight here, I'll mount it here. And I'll just mount one of these on the water out port. Just use a silicone hose into my sink. Okay, at least for now I'll do it like that. Maybe I'll buy another one of these Gardena attachments and 90-degree U-bend. Okay, now the hot wart tube is fitted on the exit port of the wart, and then it will go on this because the water in is where the wart out is. So this is water in, that means that is wart out, and that is wart in. So I'll cut it about that long and just schmook it on like that. Okay, so the hot wart will flow through the chiller, get chilled, get out here and in there. So we need another three-way valve on this port. Okay, then that's fitted. Then we need the temp sensor that monitors the temperature of the chilled wort to be attached on this side of the three-way valve, on the back side of it. But also on the return side, I'm going to have this sight glass, and then the temp sensor is mounted there. But then I have a little bit of problem because the hose that goes from here to there is a little quirky, it's a little bent and short, so I have to rethink that part there. So I'll just redo it. I'll just switch sides from hot to cold side. So I'll take this hose on that one and this one goes to there. Okay, now it's redone. The hot wort goes out there and in here, and that means this is the water exit, and the hot wort gets chilled with water in there, and the cold wort gets out here through the sight glass and the temp sensor, which is in there. You can see the wire there, and then back into the machine or out to the unitank, which will be my chilled wort exit right there. Yeah, and then I switch the water in and out also. Okay, so that's the initial setup on the Brewtools with a 3-valve system. So I have the 4th valve here. I will later attach it somewhere down here and use it to some extra functions. But for now, I think for starters, I'll brew my first batch with this 3-valve system. There's so many things to think about, all the valves being in the right positions at all the times, new software, new brewing machine. Let's just take it a bit slow and only use the 3-valve system the first few brews. Okay, a little correction there. I think if you have just one adjustable dip tube, you have to have it on the right side and not the left side that I said first. So now I have a switched side. So, and the reason for this, I think, is because this is the outtake. So when you're transferring the wort to your fermenter at the end of the brewing day, you can adjust this down to get every last bit of wort out. But when you're mashing, for example, you have to have it in an upright position so that the wort level doesn't get below these heating elements, otherwise they can get burnt. You see that it works. Yeah, the update took a bit of time yesterday, but it finished eventually. So now I can go into the menu and start the system if I want, but I won't do that now. So the Trubinator, or what you want to call it, is mounted like that. This rubber seal is attached to the bottom, and on the steam hat there's this rubber seal all around it. The steam condenser I will mount later. The overflow kit and mesh manifold I'll also do later. So that was it for this time. Next video I will start the system up, fill it with water, clean it, make sure that everything works as intended, check all the valves and see what happens when I turn this one, where does the water flow. I need to learn the system on a dry wet run before I do an actual brew day. So that was it for this time. On the next batch, thank you for watching this episode, and especially big thanks to my patrons. Thank you guys for your support, and we'll see you guys later.